Hey everyone, this is David from Shark Investing, and today was a very interesting day on the stock market. One thing that I didn't foresee happening was for Meta or Facebook to really get nailed. Went down by about 26% at one point today, so that's a huge loss. I'd be not feeling so great if stock that I bought went up by 25% in one day. The other thing that happened today that I noticed was Snapchat went down also by about like 24% before the close, and then they reported earnings at the close and rallied up by 40% or more. So that was very interesting, an opportunity for someone to make some money. So some people lost some money today, some people made some money. Very interesting to watch though, and I'm sure there's something really to be learned by that situation. Kind of the fear that was created around the Meta drop dragged some other stocks down that probably shouldn't have been dropped down, and then they recovered almost immediately when reporting earnings. So something to learn there, but we'll think more about that later. Today I wanted to talk about a stock that I've been watching for a while now, and it's called Cedar Fair. So they own Cedar Point. They own some other theme parks like Knott's Berry Farm. They also own Canada's Wonderland. It looks like Kings Island, Carowinds, Kings Dominion, California's Great America, Dorney Park, Worlds of Fun, Valley Fair, and Michigan's Adventure. Looks like some water parks, and they even own a couple parks more than that. One looks like a German one called like Schlitterbahn. I have never heard of that one before, but the park that I have heard of is Cedar Point. It's in Sandusky, Ohio. When I was a kid, I always used to go there. I loved going there. So I was watching Cedar Point stock and thinking about Cedar Point. Most people might not think about, oh, hey, I can invest in Cedar Point. Well, when the pandemic hit, and I was thinking a lot about stocks, I did some research and found out that I could buy shares of Cedar Point in this limited partnership format. So I've been watching for quite some time, and during the pandemic, Cedar Fair stock went down at least to about $18 per share or in that range. I think at one point, I can't find it on the chart, but I think it may have even hit $12 per share with that initial scare of the pandemic. So went down to 18, I know that, and presented quite a deal. Especially for a park that I consider probably one of the best roller coaster parks in the world. I put Cedar Point on par with, in my mind, I would much rather go there than certain parks in Orlando. So anyways, I have a lot of interest in Cedar Point, and so I've been watching it, and it's made quite a recovery since March 2020. It had recovered recently up into the high 40s, and sometimes it would even hit the low 50s, like $51 per share, but it would always retract back down, back into the 40s, sometimes go about 45, maybe even a little less than that, and then boom, back up, 48, 50, and it's just been kind of stuck there, oscillating in that range for quite some time, probably almost a year. And so I've been watching this happen, and I've been thinking, Cedar Point, it's this great theme park. Why isn't it going higher? Like, a lot of stocks have hit pre-pandemic highs and busted through the ceiling that they were previously at, but Cedar Point just had not really done that until recently. So very interestingly, there is a bank called Deutsche Bank, which I've also been kind of following because it has a very low price to book value ratio. But in November 17th, Deutsche Bank came out and said that they think Cedar Fair is a best-in-class theme park stock. They thought it had a 40% upside, and they thought they would reinitiate their dividend by 2023. So I think Cedar Point, before the pandemic, they had some shareholders that really were dividend oriented from what I could understand, and a large shareholder that really wanted their dividend. And so Cedar Point gave it to them. They gave a dividend when kind of the executives, I think back in the day, were saying they wanted to repay some debt, but these shareholders were saying, hey, we want our dividend. And so they gave out the dividend at that time. So I think coming into the pandemic, Cedar Point had quite a bit of debt. And I think that's part of what scared people early in the pandemic and what drove the price down. Just, American Airlines, I remember a lot of people could talk about, oh, they got so much debt, so the price drove down more than some other stocks. However, so Deutsche Bank said they're going to reinstate their dividend by 2023, which would be really nice. And they were excited about the potential exposure of Cedar Point to esports, in that there's some kind of arena that may be on the horizon. They stated that Cedar Point they thought they would have a price target of $66 per share. So something that was stuck in the high 40s, low 50s, to go up to $66 per share is pretty good. And that would give Cedar Point a market cap of $3.7 billion. So recently, I think the market cap before the price surged back up was like at 2.5 billion. But if the price went up to $66 per share, it would have a market cap of 3.7 billion. Well, the other day, February 1st, something major happened related to Cedar Point stock, or Cedar Fair stock. SeaWorld offered to buy Cedar Fair for $3.4 billion, which is very interesting because I believe that SeaWorld has a market cap in like the 4 billion range, 4.5 billion, something like that. So only slightly more valuable than Cedar Fair. But there's something that SeaWorld likes about Cedar Fair stock. And this offer has caused Cedar Fair stock to soar toward a 2-year high. In fact, on February 1st, trading was halted at 11:23 a.m. because the stock price was going up so rapidly. And then trading was resumed around 12:46 that day. And so big news. And some people, I haven't read the article yet, but there's a new article talking about potential synergies between SeaWorld and Cedar Fair if they join up. The stock is rated as an outperform at this point, with a rating of 10, obviously, because the stock price just surged. And I thought that this would happen. I thought Cedar Fair would eventually go up. However, if you look at what several analysts are saying, most of the analysts that I can see have a hold rating on Cedar Point. So they're not really recommending to buy it. Deutsche Bank came out November 17th and said, buy it. But the other analysts that I could see, there's more of hold ratings. One has an avoid rating on this stock. So it should be interesting to see what happens. Earnings are due to come out, I think February 16th. They're supposed to release their earnings, and the estimate is minus 41 cents per share. So Cedar Point's earnings have been interesting. They haven't always been the highest earnings, we'll put it that way. They have had some positive surprises. So looks like in the 2020 time period to 2021, so last year's Q2 was a positive surprise. However, earnings were still negative at 104, and then Q3 showed another positive surprise at $2.60. So very interesting, so we'll see what happens. I think it's a very interesting stock to follow. Not a typical stock. You don't see people talking about it on TV much. You don't see CNBC making much comment. Even as SeaWorld was making this big offer, I can't even see that. I don't even think it was mentioned. I didn't even see it on CNBC. Not that I was sitting there watching TV the whole day, so they could have mentioned it. But definitely a recent rally, and currently at $58.75 per share. I believe about a week ago, it was around like $48 a share. So definitely an interesting situation. This is one I'm going to watch closely over the next couple months, and we'll see what their earnings show. I think that could be really interesting. If they beat on their earnings, then I think it could surge up even higher and hopefully hit that price target of $66 per share at least that Deutsche Bank made. But I think it's a really great company. They've got great roller coasters. They have Halloween weekends there in the fall. And I think there's like a water park right next door. It's on Lake Erie. So really beautiful area as far as Ohio goes in the summer. And one of the best things really that you can do in Ohio over the summer. So if you haven't been to Cedar Point, I'd recommend you go check it out at least. And definitely watch their stock because this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. All right, upcoming video, I'm going to make a video on a company that I think may be the next Amazon. So I'm super excited about that. I think there's a company out there that can compete with Amazon and hopefully get really big like Amazon is, you know. Because that'd be super exciting to have another stock. See, Amazon, they did really well with their earnings today, and their stock went up by like 16, 17%, like $400 a share. But the person who really made the money was the person who got in on Amazon when it was a bookstore. I believe like a decade ago, Amazon was $6 to $8 a share. So if you bought Amazon when it was a bookstore for $6 to $8 a share and you held it until today, you would be doing really, really well. That would be pretty difficult to watch it all the way up and to hold on to it. But I do think there is a company out there, and I'm going to talk about that real soon on what the next Amazon may be. So we'll see you next time. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment down below. We'll see you soon. All right. Take it easy.